You can't change corrupt governments. You must demolish them completely, tear them down, destroy them, done. The entire world is run by a satanic cult. Everybody here has been born into a cult, literally. The entire system is completely poisoned, toxic, and corrupt. The entire satanic system is a global operating system of enslavement of humanity and all beings on this planet. It is a system that has defamed and desecrated what divine feminine energy is, which is life force energy, in order to try to completely get rid of that on the planet and from every individual. It is much easier to dumb you down and enslave you. You cannot demolish global satanic systems when you yourself are not at a higher level of consciousness, at much higher frequencies than the systems themselves. Our spiritual warriors are here to burn this shit to the fucking ground once and for all, to get rid of the parasites that rule this world, the parasites that take from us on every level, the parasites that created a patriarchal rape culture system in every meaning of that word. We're here to burn it to the ground. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, incredible beings. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, and we are going to dive in to one of the mistakes that I think a lot of people make when they see corruption all over the world, in their governments, in leadership positions, in our systems, that you want to see change. You want to try to create change in your governments. I don't care what country you're in, for the most part. You want to see the change. You want corrupt systems you want to change the policies that are removing people's rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here's what I need you to just understand. Let's cut the shit here, and let's stop coming from ignorance. You can't change corrupt governments. You must demolish them completely, tear them down, destroy them, done. Do you understand that our governments, especially in the United States, but in other countries as well, all over the world, the actual system that's put into place is so extraordinarily corrupt in order to provide the illusion of choice, the illusion of freedom. Like, you actually think you have a choice in what's happening in your country or in your government, in politics, that you vote. There's an illusion of voting. All of it is a game. All of it is just a show to trick the dumb and the ignorant, the brainwashed and the mind-controlled populations to think that they have some level of power and control, that they actually are exhibiting choice and they're exercising their free will choice by voting for this one or that one or whatever. All of it is a load of crap. It's all fake. Okay. So there's no such thing as running for pick any level of office anywhere. There's no such thing as one really great person is going to actually be voted in or get in somehow and make any kind of real change. That's because the entire system is corrupt. Like, that's the part that I think, no matter how much people talk about it, like, hello, it's time to wake up for real. We're still missing the bigger picture here. The entire system is completely poisoned, toxic, and corrupt. It doesn't mean there are not potentially a few people here or there in whatever governmental system that we're talking about, anywhere in the world. It doesn't mean that there aren't a few people here and there who really want to make change and do good and change certain policies and blah blah blah. Okay, that's lovely and all, but that doesn't do shit. There's a more serious problem that we have on our hands that I think more and more people are waking up to and ready to awaken to, the actual truth. The entire satanic system is a global operating system of enslavement of humanity and all beings on this planet. It is a system that has defamed and desecrated what divine feminine energy is, which is life force energy. It is oneness energy and oneness consciousness. In order to corrupt that and try to completely get rid of that on the planet and from every individual, it is much easier to dumb you down and enslave you and to trick you into thinking that you have choice of anything, anywhere. And you always have choice. And yet it's funny, your choices are this evil corrupt side or that evil corrupt side. It's all the same. It is all the same. Okay. So it's so important for you to understand that. And for some of you, I would encourage you to pause, rewind this, go back to the beginning, start it over, and play that first few minutes again. I'm being very literal. I'm being dead serious about that. Just listen to that one more time. There is no such thing as changing some policies or changing a few people in some important leadership positions and thinking you're going to get anywhere. The systems in place go way beyond what is in front of your eyes. What does that mean? Any government that we could be talking about that you see the people in place that are in this leadership position or that leadership position, the people of parliament, of government, of the cabinet, of the whatever you call aspects of your government in any part of this world, what you see in front of your face is all the fake illusion. What is actually running these things goes way deeper behind the scenes that you will never see. You don't see that part. Okay. So there's no such thing as change a few policy. Like, look at what they've done to all the laws and the policies and the amendments and the this and the that. All of it is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pages of wording that you need 19 different lawyers to collaborate on to even comprehend what the fuck it says. So how is the average person going to understand anything that they are even voting for? That they like, there's no, do you understand that it's all just a hodgepodge of fuckery in order to continue to enslave you and to continue to reinforce the complete illusion that you have choice in anything? So here is what we can wake up to. The entire government needs to be completely fucking demolished. The entire system that upholds that needs to be completely demolished. Now, how does that happen? Here's the first thing. This is probably the most important thing to critically understand. If you have people that are at the same level of consciousness as the government, they are not awakened beings. They're not evolving. They are not focused on healing their traumas. They're not literally raising their level of consciousness. You're just aware that the government is corrupt and it sucks. Okay, maybe you're aware that there's a satanic global cult system in place over the entire world, enslaving all beings and all of humanity. Maybe you're aware of these things already to varying degrees. Good for you. I applaud you. And I'm saying that very literally. I'm not being facetious. I mean that. Good for you. That's a start. That's not good enough. You're not unplugging from that old satanic cult matrix system just by knowing about it. In fact, if you learn energetics at very high levels, part of what we teach you in classes at Masters of Self University, you understand that the more you focus on these things, you're actually energetically anchoring them in place. You're not changing anything energetically. In order to change systems, corrupt governmental systems all over the world, you have to completely demolish them. Now, what does that mean? In order to demolish them, there are lots of levels to move through in your individual elevation and raising your level of consciousness, connecting to your divine power, becoming a truly sovereign being. That doesn't happen because you figured out how to stop paying taxes. It doesn't mean that's not one thing to do. Anybody in the United States, especially in any country, if you're paying income taxes, I really hope that you have learned and gone down the rabbit hole to figure out how to undo that. Because in the United States, you don't have to. It's voluntary, and that doesn't mean you can just stop paying them. They'll come after you. That's the system in place. It's a system of enslavement to invoke fear so that you can be controlled and that you'll never rise up and rise against what is enslaving you and controlling you. That's how the system works. Invokes fear, powerlessness, right? So although there are lots of things that we can take action on, step by step, one at a time, go file your revocation of election, your ROE. Go down the rabbit hole and figure out what to do and how to do that. We teach on that. Part of what we teach you in Master Self University in one of our classes. So you learn how to do that. And I really hope that everyone in the damn United States chooses to go do that. That will help make a bigger difference when they're suddenly not stealing as much money as they could be stealing from the American people. And I hope you figure out how to do that in every other country you live in, by the way. The rules are just going to be slightly different pertaining to your country, your state, your, wherever you are in the world. I want you to do that. I am never telling you not to do things like that. I am always encouraging you to do stuff like that. What I am also telling you is simultaneously that is not enough. It's only one piece of a 10,000 piece puzzle that we all need to be willing to do, take action on in order to change corrupt governmental systems. They have to be completely demolished. So how do we demolish them? We stop giving them our money. That's number one. How do we at least move in that direction? Stop paying your taxes. That does not mean you just simply don't pay them. That's not how it works. You have to go through the proper techniques, tactics, paperwork, legal paperwork, notarizing, blah, blah, blah. There is a process in order to do that, to unplug and remove yourself from being that person who is getting raped to that degree, 10 times over, taxed on the same thing 37 times. Here is one way that you can do that. I'm only giving this as one example because this one example is absolutely important and critical and vital, and I hope you all do it. It isn't enough. How do you demolish an entire system? You have to completely unplug from that, which means you have to raise your level of consciousness. So here I'm going back to what I started to say as the most critical, key, vital thing to start to comprehend at a deeper level. If you simply make changes or you don't pay your taxes or you do this or you do that, great. Okay. In the end, who the hell cares? If you're functioning and vibrating at the same frequencies that created these corrupt systems, if you're still functioning as the slave who was ignorant and conditioned and brainwashed, that doesn't just go away because you choose to file your ROE and stop paying taxes. That doesn't mean that your level of consciousness has gone any higher. It doesn't. That's not, you have to work on that. You have to learn what that actually means at a vibratory level. So how do you demolish corrupt governments? You figure out how they function, how they manipulate you, how they brainwash you, how they mind control you. And then you start to heal from that. You start to unplug from it step by step. You raise your level of consciousness so not to get manipulated and tricked anymore. The entire world is run by a satanic cult. You're in a fucking cult. Everybody here has been born into a cult. Literally. That's not some exaggerated, symbolic metaphor of something. It is literal. And there are subcults all over the world in existence everywhere you look. Okay. You're being manipulated and tricked and brainwashed and scammed every which way you turn. And you have to learn. So, education is absolutely priceless when it comes to this. And that education isn't enough. There's no one thing that is going to do it all to end this global satanic cult system of enslavement that every government in the fucking world runs and is a part of. There's not one thing to do. There are tons of things that we're here to do and achieve and accomplish and become. The level of brainwashing is so multi-layered that you think you're creating change by being a unique individual when everybody wants to be unique, special individual. So you're the same as everyone else. Like, look at all the groups in history, especially those who think they're rebelling against anything. Movements. You join a movement, but it's at the same level of consciousness that you're rebelling against. So when you start to learn energy and frequency, you start to realize how ridiculous it is to even have a movement of anything when it's the same frequency of what you're quote unquote standing up against or standing for. It's all ridiculous. It wastes your time and energy, and you're still a part of the same system that oppresses you or abuses you or rapes you or steals from you or enslaves you. Still part of the same system. And actually anchoring that system in place energetically, because you don't have the education to realize how you're not. And you don't have the education to realize how you absolutely anchor in and consent to what you think you're fighting against 100% of the time. There is way more to ending the corruption we see in the world than just let's create our own communities and grow our own food. Two other beautiful examples, by the way. Remember that I gave that analogy of the 10,000 piece puzzle and moving through the process to legally unplug from being able to pay, from having to pay income taxes. One example. File that ROE. That's one example. Starting our own communities and growing our own food. That's another example of beautiful things to do. It isn't enough. Remember, there's no one thing that completely unplugs from that system that enslaves us all. It is a multitude of things. And the most important, I'm going to say this again. I've said it once already. I'm going to say it a second time. The most important, critical, key factor, you have to learn frequency and actually raise your level of consciousness. And most people don't have the slightest clue what that means. And with all due respect, it's never an insult. It is never, ever, ever an insult. That when you think you know what that means, because, oh, I know what's going on in the world, that doesn't mean fuck all to raising your level of consciousness. Being aware of it doesn't mean you have a high level of consciousness. People don't even know what it means, literally. We have to invest everything into becoming the being that is so high vibrationally and know, oh yeah, I do that already. I meditate. I am in this spiritual group. I go to that, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Still ignorant. Still a part of the cult. Not what it is. I don't care if you're dancing naked under the moonlight with your crystals. And it doesn't mean don't do that. I'm never telling you don't do that or that it's wrong or bad. We don't comprehend because we're so fragmented and brainwashed what it actually means and what it takes to awaken for real and actually raise your level of consciousness. That is not something that happens overnight. It isn't something that happens in a matter of just a few months. It doesn't mean you're not raising your consciousness on an ongoing basis. You're elevating it on an ongoing basis when you are devoted, willing and devoted. You're putting your time, your energy, your efforts. You're investing yourself. That's your number one priority, despite anything else you have going on in life. Now you're going to get somewhere. Now we're going to unplug from that matrix faster. Now we're not just changing stupid corrupt governments that are just going to continue to be more corrupt in a different way, and it's going to hide in different ways, and then you're going to be fooled again because they know how to do that. They know how to brainwash. They're masterminds at it. When you don't understand frequency, you don't understand energy, you then don't have the slightest clue about mind control or that you are mind controlled. And I don't care who's trying to teach people out there about the global cult. If they themselves are not doing the inner work, energetically healing their traumas, changing the energetic programming that exists within each and every one of us, because it exists within each and every human being alive on the planet, until you invest enough time, energy, devotion, and it takes years to fully unplug on all of these levels where no corrupt system can continue to be stabilized by our frequencies, by our ignorance. So corrupt governments don't need to change. They are what they are. They're never going to change in the sense that they're going to elevate and heal and somehow be positive and loving and wonderful systems of leadership. That doesn't exist on the planet. It is a patriarchal, satanic cult planet of enslavement. Do you understand how intricate all of the systems are? They are systems intertwined with other systems, interconnected with other systems, interconnected and layered with other systems. It's system upon system upon system upon system. The food system, pharmaceutical system, corporations, all of it, government, all of them are systems upon systems. Sick care instead of health care, all of them are systems within systems within systems within systems within systems. And it can feel very overwhelming when you actually start to learn the interconnectedness of how deeply ingrained and entwined and interconnected all of the systems are, in order to keep you as a slave that will never rise up, that will never demolish, completely fucking burn down all of the governments that exist that run on this old patriarchal old earth system. One big system that has countless systems within it. Science and research, all of that part of the system, the satanic systems. Religion, part of the satanic systems. All of it's brainwashing. Okay? So your role in all of this, you came here to become a warrior, to completely demolish all of it. Tear it down, burn it to the fucking ground. Our spiritual warriors are here to burn this shit to the fucking ground once and for all, to get rid of the parasites that rule this world, the parasites that take from us on every level, the parasites that created a patriarchal rape culture system in every meaning of that word. We're here to burn it to the ground. And in order to actually do that, we have to destabilize and then allow their system to come crashing down. And there are, again, so many different ways that we need to do that. So many countless ways that we need to do that. And the most important is to actually invest your time and your energy into raising your level of consciousness. It starts with you, the micro you, the individual, 100%. Listen to what I'm saying. 100%. Not only energetically consents to all of these systems, the trafficking of women, children, human trafficking, all of it. Every horrific thing you can imagine, inequality, misogyny, oppression of every kind, you energetically consent to it being poisoned, all your food being poisoned. All of it you consent to. No, I don't. Yes, you do, or it wouldn't exist. That's the trap. That's the trick. That's the manipulation. That's the illusion of choice that you have. That is the brainwashing. That is the mind control. And if you're not willing to learn how you are mind controlled, how you are brainwashed, how you literally consent to all of it, and when you energetically consent to all of it, you are anchoring it all in place so that it can continue to exist and continue to rape you in every way that these systems rape you. in every way, because that's all they do. They're stealing your money from you constantly, all your hard-earned money. They're just raping you. Okay. It's making you sick and then pretending to be the solution to your sicknesses by giving you pharmaceuticals and drugs and chemo and all the things that they say. There's treatment. It's not treatment. It's masking symptoms. Come on. In every way that this satanic cult system rapes you, entraps you, enslaves you, you consent to all of it because we're so dumbed down, and that's done by design. Now, you've heard me talk about this stuff before, but what I want to hit home today in this particular episode is you cannot come crashing down the system when your level of consciousness is not higher than the system itself. Right there. Boom. Listen to that again. You cannot demolish global satanic systems when you yourself are not at a higher level of consciousness, at much higher frequencies than the systems themselves. You need to become the way of responsibility to learn how to unplug from the system, raise your level of consciousness, heal your own programming that has been brainwashed and mind controlled and conditioned in you from the systems themselves to keep you where you are, to keep you consenting to it and anchoring it in and fueling it to make sure it keeps running. You have to be the way of responsibility to learn how to do that. You have to have the way of patience and become the way of patience in order to figure out that to unplug from these systems, to bring them, burn them to the fucking ground, takes time and effort and willingness and devotion on your part. Like, you have to become the way of surrender and flow with the process of unplugging for real, destabilizing that system. And it isn't about changing fucking policies. Well, let's just write new policies for government. You're an idiot if that's what you think. You're either so ignorant and dumbed down, you think that's going to make a difference. That level of stupidity doesn't change anything, number one. Number two, you're either then a plant. Those are your two options. Oh, look, I'm going to make real change. You're a plant working for the corrupt satanic system to get involved to make it look like you're going to do something, when really all you're there to do is waste everybody's time and spin wheels. Because changing policy, changing laws doesn't change the global system overall. It is the same frequency. All of this needs to be demolished, destabilized, crashed to the ground, burned to the ground, destroyed. The whole thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the entire government needs to be burned to the fucking ground. The government cannot exist as it exists with a couple tweaks. There's no such thing as that you are unplugged from or making any real change by you thinking we just need an independent for a president instead of a Democrat or a Republican. Like, that level of ignorance, we have to stop wasting our time at this. We've run out of time, people. There's the truth. We fucking run out of time. So we need to be more powerful than that. And the only way to be more powerful is if you are devoting your time and energy. You are investing in yourself to become an energetically powerful enough being where when enough of it, it's not good enough that enough of us come together. So what? Because there are enough people coming together for really evil causes. Just because you collect and there's a group of us, do you understand that's not good enough? And that does not mean that we don't need more of us to come together. This is oneness consciousness teaching now. Let's elevate and become the way of wisdom, for crying out loud. Actually, for real. That doesn't happen because you know a thing or two. That knowledge is not wisdom. Okay. So yes, enough of us need to come together, and not enough of us are, number one. Number two, though, enough of us need to come together where we are actually learning this at the core level, the frequency level, at the quantum energetics level. You have to devote your time in comprehending what these satanic systems do and how they do it. Yes, we teach classes on this at Masters of Self University. What do they do and how do they do it? So you're part of the brainwashing. I'm gonna give you one example. Part of the brainwashing is you are so freaked out when you hear the words, not so much the word ceremony, rituals, things like that, energies, energetics, magic, spells, all those kinds of things. That's done by design. That's part of the brainwashing, so that you'll never connect to your multi-dimensional self, that doesn't integrate. When you wake up for real and raise your level of consciousness, your multi-dimensional self starts to come back online. All those energetic codes start to get activated more and more, and you learn how to activate them intentionally. You also then, they activate over time depending on the level of consciousness you are achieving by the willingness and the devotion, the investment in yourself to become all of this. When the higher you are in your level of consciousness, becoming a being of oneness consciousness, energetic codes activate. Your 12-strand DNA activates and starts to come online more. And then the old energetic codes of severance consciousness, inequality, separation, all of that, enslavement, inferior superior programs, the survival programs instead of thriving programs, all of those codes have to fade, be deactivated, which the people, that parasites that run the world, are constantly activating in order to keep them alive and strong in you. So then you're trapped at the same level of consciousness always, because your level of consciousness is a vibratory frequency. That's it. To change to a different vibratory frequency, no, you don't do one fucking, say a mantra for a few weeks, or do a certain meditation, or meditate daily, and that just automatically happens. Guys, that's all part of the fucking brainwashing. It's time to wake up for real. We've run out of time. We've run out of time to get a clue. Okay. And we need to get more than one clue here. So I want you to understand that there is no such thing as one person is going to change a corrupt government. Well, let's just get that one as our prime minister, or our president, or our this, or our that. The entire systems are run by people behind the scenes. It isn't one person in one position that's going to make any kind of change like that, because it is impossible. It's tearing the entire system down, destabilizing it, unplugging from it. The higher you raise your level of consciousness, and the more action items that you check off, like I've given examples of, start to grow your own fucking food. Stop going to the grocery store. Stop with buying the goddamn meat at the fucking grocery store. Stop it. Unplug. If you're still going to eat meat, that's a different conversation. I'm not here to debate, vegetarianism, vegan. That's not part of this conversation. Go to a regenerative farm. Go to local regenerative farms and purchase your organic produce. And if you eat meat, purchase your meat from those farms. Go get subscription. There are subscriptions now that you could get them delivered right to your house. Stop going to the fucking grocery store and buying shit. Stop eating poison. You have to take action in these ways. File your ROE and stop paying income taxes. There are things that you need to do, and keep adding to that list and then checking them off your list. And there's also, you have to learn energy and frequency, because the satanic cult system functions 100% on frequency. They're the ones performing the rituals. They know all the laws of the universe. They just use it for evil. Do you understand? Part of the brainwashing is not, does magic exist? You are magic. You're a multidimensional being. Doesn't mean all of your energetic codes in your DNA to have you tap into the multidimensional self are online at all. They've been turned off. They're dumbed down. What do you think your junk DNA is? It doesn't mean that just you learn about something and suddenly all that's activated overnight. That's not how this works. It takes fucking time, people, which is why enough wasted. Do you understand? This all takes time. There's no such thing as activating all this shit in a matter of a week or a month or even a year. And yet, the more of us that do it and accomplish it and achieve it and go higher for real, what it actually means, and we invest everything, our entire existence is invested into becoming this. When the more people that can do that and that do choose to do that, it speeds up the timeline for everybody else. It destabilizes all the governments and all those corporations and all the billionaires that are greedy fucks. It destabilizes them more, and they start to come crashing down. And here's the other thing. It isn't good enough for them to come crashing down. What is there to take its place? What is there to take its place? How do we build something completely new that is not in existence when everything that's in existence and built that we function as societies, global societies that we function on, all come from that patriarchal severance, satanic enslavement systems? What happens when they all come crashing to the ground? What do we have in place of it? Okay, this is part of what my soul mission is. A being of oneness consciousness, a system of oneness has to be put in place and has to be built over time. We have to build that system. The system's based on oneness consciousness. That is not the same as saying, yep, we're going to get into government and change some policies. You're an idiot. You're a brainwashed, mind-controlled idiot. That's not how this works. You have to completely replace the goddamn system with a completely new system. Oh, we're so afraid of change, though. Part of the fucking brainwashing. Oh, I need something really familiar. Part of the fucking brainwashing. No, you don't. What you need is to be connected to your goddamn soul and experience divinity and divine codes activating, you elevating your level of consciousness, realize how powerful you are. And from there, you can start to function and help to build a system of oneness, even though you don't know every little thing that needs to be in place right now. You don't have to know everything. You have to become. The becoming is first. Then you build from there. Okay? So I really want this to sink in. And I would even encourage you to listen to this episode just one more time in a week or two. Come back and revisit it. Listen to it again. There's no such thing as, quote unquote, changing the corrupt governments and systems of the world that are trying to take over and make sure we remain dumb, blind, ignorant, powerless, and enslaved, so they can continue to rape us in all the multitude of incredible varietal ways that they do that. They want to continue to do that. And they have everything in place. They're 10 steps ahead. They're the ones that create the rituals energetically and do them and invoke them on us all the time. They work with frequency. And they teach you to stay away from things like that because you think it's fantasy, mythical, or you think it's witchcraft, just more the brainwashing, or you think that it's delusional and crazy. All of that, those are all different levels of the same fucking method of brainwashing of you to keep you ignorant, dumbed down, and deactivated from your real magical powers that you have that are in there. And those magical powers, those things don't come online, like I said, over and over again, overnight. They've been dormant and dead for far too long. It takes willingness. It takes time. It takes devotion. And time is not on our side right now. So we have to wake up for real at much higher levels. We have to raise our level of consciousness. Go to Masters of Self University. See what we have to offer. Become a student there because this is our purpose. This is our mission. This is what we're accomplishing and achieving in this organization. It's a metaphysical university of oneness consciousness in order to dismantle everything that is of old earth That means dismantling all of that within yourselves as individuals. And then what are we reconstructing? What are we constructing from brand new? As beings of oneness consciousness, as you are becoming those beings of oneness consciousness, you are creating and infusing your vibratory resonance and imprint in every single thing that you do in your lifetime. I don't care if it's an interaction, a conversation you have with another person. I don't care if you're at the grocery store, the farmer's market. I don't care if you're building your own business and you're an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're in some sort of government or you run a nonprofit. I don't care what you do, who you're interacting with, and what the topic is. You are infusing your vibratory imprint 100% of the time. And if that level of consciousness is still a low level of consciousness and it's within 3 octaves of what the satanic cult system is, because you want to form this group or this organization because, you're coming from a powerless place, from anger, from rage, you're still functioning in that old cult system and you don't realize it. You're none the wiser. Do you get that? And you think you're breaking free. That's the illusion. That's the delusion that you're under because you're still brainwashed and mind controlled. You're still being manipulated. Can you comprehend that? That's the part that we have to focus on changing and becoming the way of wisdom. Everything is vibratory. Everything is frequency. You have to learn how to function at different frequency levels, at variances of frequency levels. You have to know how to activate that. You have to know how to actually become it so that your foundational frequency is from oneness, not that separation, severance, patriarchal consciousness where you're easily tricked, manipulated, brainwashed, mind controlled, and enslaved. Always being led to believe that you're not. You think you're free, you think you're spiritual, and you think you unplugged. All of that's still the dumb and blind thinking they're leaving a matrix that they're not, that they're anchoring into, and just in a different way, wearing a different type of mask. This level of education is absolutely vital. It is critical. No one changes anything if you're not receiving this level of education energetically. You have to learn frequency. You have to learn to read the frequencies that are flowing through you at any given moment. All the time is your foundational frequencies, and how to change that, how to remove them, how to heal the holes in your magnetic fields, which is how they can implant, imprint, shoot frequencies at you, which they do all the time through TV, through radio frequency, through microwave frequencies that they blast, through chemtrails, through music, sound frequency, you name it, they're blasting all the time through social media apps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the time. You're being blasted in a million different ways. How do you protect yourself from that? It's not by taking a master class and that's it, you're done. Like, there's no such thing. You have to be willing to become. And that means now until the day you die. And that means understanding that it's going to take years for you to undo all the damage, all the imprinting, all the programming, all the brainwashing, and become something other than that. That is an investment of your time and energy. Like, you have to be willing to do that part. And you also have to keep in mind and remember that you can't change corrupt governments. There's no such thing that's part of the fucking delusion. You're delusional if you think you can just change a government by making some small changes or even big changes in it. It all has to come crashing to the fucking ground. Governments as we know them need to cease to exist. But you have to know what to put in place of them. How do we have beautiful, powerful leadership and leaders of oneness guiding, teaching, healing? Because true leaders of oneness are here to teach you, are here to elevate you, are here to uphold the standard that they themselves live by, that they walk their talk. Leaders of oneness are here to help teach you, to heal you, to raise your level of consciousness always. You tell me what fucking government does that in the world. What government does that in the world? When you are still lower levels of consciousness, you believe things like, we don't need any leadership. We don't need anybody to quote unquote govern us at all. Well, that's fucking stupid. With all due respect, and I'm not saying that to offend anybody. You're fucking stupid and you're still trapped in the low levels of consciousness. Because the truth is, the collective consciousness, that level, there would be no how many laws do we need to have? How many punishments, quote unquote? How many prisons? How many harsh consequences do we need? Look at the fucking collective, how much violence exists. Now, you want to try to make it more complicated by saying, well, but violence exists because we take away human rights and we blah, blah. Yes, that's part of it. And it also means that if violence wasn't the underlining way that they brainwash people to control us and put us in fear, to quote unquote need police officers and prisons and punishment. The reason we need that, now it's multiple layers to this. Let me say that. Of course there are. And yet that's where y'all get trapped. Most of you, that's where you get trapped. We don't need governments. We don't need laws. We don't need people telling us what to do. Yes, you fucking do. As of right now, yes, you fucking do. The more violent the collective is, look at the statistics of rape and murder, domestic violence. That's it. Just look at that. Then you'd need more laws and more rules. That shows you how many rules and laws and strict policies you need and strict, harsh punishments. When you raise your level of consciousness, violence doesn't exist. Do you understand? Violence only needs to exist because a low level of consciousness that creates and necessitates violence and therefore punishment, appropriate punishment for that. When you raise your level of consciousness, there's no such thing, the way of harmlessness and gentleness. When you become presence, when you become connection, when you become compassion, when you become harmlessness and gentleness, violence ceases to exist. Do you understand? That stuff doesn't change and cease to exist because you got rid of laws and rules and like that's stupid. We need harsher punishments for a lot of these fucking crazy psychopaths out there that continue to set women on fire in subways and rape and murder and traffic and do all that. Like, hello, do you see what's happening in the world? You actually need much harsher punishments for things like that because they exist and there are people that are so low in their level of consciousness, they carry these things out. You don't suddenly say, we don't need anybody governing us. That's not just, that's stupidity. And again, I'm not saying that to offend anybody. Truly, I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. Feel my energy. I'm not coming from that place. I'm saying it to wake you up. We can't be that dumb because that's when all hell breaks loose. If people knew how to govern and control themselves, we wouldn't have objectification and lust and porn addiction and rape, and we wouldn't function in violence. We wouldn't have so many people being kidnapped, children, women, human trap. Like, do you understand that wouldn't exist? So This is multi-layered, which is where education is absolutely priceless. We need to educate ourselves and understand how these systems work, how they affect us as individuals, how we run these programs ourselves, and how we consent to them and anchor them in for other people to run them. Even if I myself am not a violent person, I'm not going to go out and kill and torture animals and children and blah, blah, blah. And yet, how do I run the energetic frequencies that help anchor that and allow that to continue? That's the education. And that is not an education that anybody is getting when the parasitic satanic cult leaders of the world want you to be enslaved, are going to educate you with. This is why Masters of Self University is in existence. Understanding that much allows you to understand. So how do you just change from like old earth to new earth? It's not, you don't flip a switch. It is a process because people need to raise their level of consciousness. Because once you do the work on yourself to heal, to elevate, to grow, to expand, then you absolutely alchemize, transmute all of the programming that leads you to objectification. Objectification leads to dehumanization. Dehumanization leads to violence and aggression, domination, control, and overpowering people to get what you want, because that's a superiority program over in what you think and view as inferior to you. That's lack of the way of equality. That's lack of harmlessness and gentleness. Do you understand that when we lack those ways of oneness because we function in other frequencies, these things continue, and you act like just removing the control of government is going to suddenly heal all that? No, it won't. It'll actually create more fucking havoc and violence and craziness on the planet. People will be completely out of control. It is a process to get to where we would like to get to. And if we lack the way of wisdom to get there, we're only going to create more chaos, more violence, more harm. So we need education. So any leaders, any quote unquote government, I hate that word, but you won't know what I'm talking about if I don't say that word. Any government that is put in place, any leadership that's created and constructed, has to come from leaders of oneness consciousness. They have to become and be and function as, they have to walk their talk of what they're teaching. The number one thing that should be offered from any leader is education. Any true leader is education. How do you become divinely powerful? How do you heal yourself? Those are true leaders. From that vibratory frequency, from that level of wisdom, from that level of consciousness, when your number one goal is to empower people by teaching them, then systems can be built from that place. Do you understand what I'm offering to you in this teaching? Do you get it? Can you see it? The leaders from all over the world have to be people that empower you in divine independence, in wisdom, in harmlessness and gentleness, and actually show you how to achieve it, how to get there, and know it because they've done it for themselves. True, actual teachers on this planet are the ones that should be leading the world. And by that, I mean leading your communities, leading your, again, governments. Hate that word. That word's got to go, because all the governments need to crash down, burn to fuck ground, and cease to exist. And what needs to replace them are leaders of oneness consciousness that are constantly teaching others how to evolve into higher levels of consciousness, that can then teach others how to evolve into higher levels of consciousness, that can then teach others how to evolve into higher levels of consciousness. And all of that includes how to tap into your multidimensional self, how to tap into your superhuman powers, how to become these frequencies of oneness, how to how to walk your talk, because you've achieved a level of consciousness where that's just how you exist. You don't have to try anymore. And then you teach from the time children are born. Parents are supposed to be their first divine teachers. How can they be when parents are corrupted, when parents are broken and unhealed, when parents function in severance, patriarchal consciousness where they're brainwashed slave and they don't even know it? How? How do you teach your children any different than what you are? Ooh, let that sink in. How can leaders teach anybody anything different than what they are? You fucking can't. There are people out here on social media platforms saying, oh, I don't pretend to be enlightened, but I can take people to beyond what I even. Shut the fuck up. No, you can't. This is so stupid. No, you can't. You cannot take anybody beyond what you've achieved yourself. Doesn't mean other people can't become higher than you. There's a difference there. Did you hear it? There is a difference. You can become higher than me. Can I take you high? No fucking way. I can only take you as high as I am. That's why we all need the goal, the individual goal. I'm going to go as high as I possibly can. Because the higher I go, the higher I become in my vibratory frequency, in my resonance, in my level of consciousness, I can then guide other people, support other people, teach other people, heal other people, help other people in achieving the same for them. You cannot teach higher than you function. You cannot teach higher than you are. You cannot teach quantum physics when you only have a third grade education. How the fuck can you do that? Like, hello? And yet we're so brainwashed and disillusioned with the fucking desperate need to be important and special that we skip all the fucking steps thinking we're getting somewhere. Time to wake up for real. Time to wake up for real. So all of you out there who want different governmental systems wherever you live in the world, here's the deal. You can't have that. You can't achieve that if you're not willing to become yourself. How do you create something brand new when you yourself haven't achieved a level beyond the frequencies of those corrupt systems of enslavement? How? Oh, that's right. You can't, because it's impossible. That's like me saying I can teach you Italian when I don't yet speak Italian, but I can teach it to you. I can only teach you what I know, what I've become, what I've mastered. That is any individual. I can only teach you what I have become myself. Do you understand that? Yeah, we need to grow up for real here and stop with the, marketing crap that everybody does from that old earth system of I can take you here, I can promise you that, I can hit. Well, how healed are you? How elevated are you? Like, for real, not what your ego tells you. I mean, we need to mature and grow up here and stop trying to be special and instead learn how to become and put the hard work and effort in that it takes to become what it means to become. Because you don't meditate a few times or as a regular practice and think you're a high level of consciousness. That level of ignorance, we've run out of time for you to get that. Put the work in. Do the work. Because the payoff for that means we get to change this whole world. Like, do you understand what the payoff is? If enough of us achieve this, the actual payoff is to dismantle the entire fucking global systemic satanic imprisonment system that enslaves all of us, that brainwashes and mind controls all of us. We can dismantle the whole fucking thing if enough of us invest in ourselves and truly become. Put the work in, put the devotion, the willingness to become has to be there. It is hard work. It takes time. It is warriors' work. It isn't passively meditating or sitting on a mountain in the middle of nowhere where nothing challenges you or triggers you. That's not becoming. That's escaping. Okay. Functioning in this world is to function as in a physical form, as a tangible being. To change this world means you're a part of this world. You're living in it, not trying to escape from it. That's old false pseudo spiritual bullshit. That's brainwashing. That's part of the cult system. To make real change, you have to become, and you have to become a being that can exist in this world as an extraordinarily high level being of oneness consciousness. And you're willing to put the hard work and effort into becoming that. And then you're willing to do what it takes to dismantle an entire fucking cult system. And when enough of us can achieve that, it will all come crumbling down. And not just come crumbling down, because that isn't good enough. We are not here to create chaos. The entire fucking world exists in nothing but violent chaos, war, famine, genocide, devastation, fear, intimidation, control, tyranny, dictatorship. That's what the whole fucking world is. So it's not about tearing that down, dismantling that, burning it to the fucking ground, and then that's it, creating more chaos. You have to already be the being who has become a billion times higher frequency than that. And you're putting systems in place and creating new systems to replace the old systems simultaneously as you're dismantling, destabilizing, and crashing them down to the ground. You're already rising and creating and elevating the replacement systems while you're destabilizing and dismantling the old system. So that starts to slowly crumble and crash to the ground while the new systems are rising up in replacement of them. It's a simultaneous transition, a simultaneous transformation. Do you understand? It isn't one and then the other. That's old duality consciousness, which is patriarchal consciousness. It is a simultaneous falling of the old, rising of the new. It is a simultaneous replacement. So again, when enough of us can achieve that, you will see faster progress in the world of these old systems crashing to the ground, but new systems are already being built, replacing the old. And our entire idea of education and becoming is one of those systems. That's part of why I'm on this planet. Leadership has to be completely different. The old idea of what leadership is was never fucking leadership. It was domination. It was tyranny. It was control. It was illusion. It was trickery. It was enslavement. So the idea of what leadership is, we got to get out of our minds and we have to become. And the more of us that can achieve that, the faster we'll see things change on this planet. The faster, more intensely, we'll see the split of old Earth versus new Earth. But you have to be willing to become. This isn't for you to sit and watch on the outskirts and just witness, because you're going to end up on old Earth. It's not going to turn out well for you. Make the investment, put the time in, put the effort in, because it's hard work and it is exhausting work sometimes. But it is also, there's nothing more exhilarating and there's no better payoff than when we can come together from all over the world and actually achieve what we came here to do. So let's fucking do it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Bye for now.